What is up guys, Hoyoverse recently announced that the second closed beta for Honkai Star Rail has officially begun. With their next big title just around the corner, I think this would be the perfect time to talk about what's in store for us. Before we dive in, if you clicked on this video, you are likely a big fan of Hoyoverse's previous titles, or just a fan of anime or gaming. If you'd like to keep up with Star Rail news and content, please consider subscribing to my channel. Now, let's get into the top 10 things we know about the game so far. It has been confirmed that Honkai Star Rail will be a turn-based RPG similar to traditional Final Fantasy games or the Pokemon series. All characters will have access to a normal attack, a special attack, and finally an ultimate ability. This setup is similar to what we've experienced on previous titles, but now it's going to be applied in a turn-based setting. I'm excited to see what type of twist they'll bring to this traditional game genre to keep things feeling fresh. Similar to Genshin Impact, Honkai Star Rail will give you the option to choose between two protagonists. This is a notable difference to the previous Honkai game, which only allowed you the choice of a single main character. I'm glad to see that Hoyoverse is learning from the past and allowing players more flexibility when selecting a protagonist. We don't know too much about the role of these characters, and I hope that Hoyoverse will take the time to introduce us to their origin. There has been talk about Honkai Star Rail taking place in an alternate reality to the Honkai universe. There are actually several returning characters that have been announced so far, including the following: Welt, Bronya, Seele, and Himeko. Although these characters look incredibly similar to their Honkai 3rd Impact counterparts, their backstories are completely different, with Himeko being an adventurous scientist and Bronya being the commander of the Silvermane Guards. With the inclusion of these returning characters, I'm sure many of the previous Honkai fans will be delighted to see some of their favorites returning. Along with the returning cast from Honkai Impact III, we have several characters that are brand new to the series, including fresh faces like Dan Heng, March 7th, Clara, and many more. With a starting roster of 18 characters, all with their own backstories and playstyles, I'm excited to see the type of interactions we'll get between this colorful cast. Honkai Star Rail does use an elemental combat system similar to many traditional RPGs. From what we've seen so far, it is likely that enemies and characters will both have weaknesses and strengths. Building multiple teams to handle different scenarios will likely play a large part in the game. The elements we've been introduced to so far include fire, ice, wind, lightning, physical, quantum, and imaginary. Here's a short list of the characters that fall into each category. I'm very curious to see the types of interactions that these elements will have with each other. Similar to the Herschers and Archons in Hoyoverse's previous titles, Star Rail is introducing a new type of pantheon called the Aeons. A recent post in HoYoLab has confirmed that there will be 8 different Aeons, including the Trailblaze, Akavili, the Destruction, Nanook, the Hunt, Lan, the Erudition, Noose, the Harmony, Sipe, the Nihility, Nine, the Preservation, Clyfoth, and the Abundance, Yaoshi. All of the Aeons embody a different abstract concept, and based on the descriptions that we've received so far, they will likely play a significant role in the world. Each Aeon will also represent a different class, with Destruction being Warrior, Hunt being Rogue, Erudition, Mage, Harmony, Shaman, Nihility, Warlock, Preservation, Knight, and Abundance, Priest. If you're familiar with classic RPG class archetypes, these roles are very familiar. Rogues being strong single-target DPS characters, Knights being the traditional tank, and Priests focusing mainly on healing. Every character in the roster will fall into one of these categories and thus play a different role in your team. We've only been introduced to one of the worlds in Star Rail so far, Jarilo 6. According to a post in HoYoLab, the planet was developing too quickly for its own good, and due to a lack of resources and the coming of the Eternal Freeze, the planet was devastated. We haven't heard too much about what the Eternal Freeze is, but it sounds like a catastrophic and planet-wide event that occurred many years ago. The survivors of the catastrophe built Belobog, a sanctuary for the last remaining humans still struggling to stay alive. That's pretty much all we know about the location so far, and I'm almost certain that Hoyoverse will introduce us to more of the world soon. If you're a fan of dungeon diving and RPGs, this one is going to excite you. Dungeon exploration is going to play a big part in the gameplay cycle of Star Rail. We have been introduced to the Fragmentum, which is a massive dungeon containing dangerous monsters, traps, and treasures. We don't know too much beyond this, but my prediction is that the Fragmentum is going to play a similar role to the Abyss in Genshin Impact, but with continuous progression and much more exploration. Like Hoyoverse's previous titles, Honkai Star Rail will be a gacha game. This will mean that new characters will not automatically be unlocked, and instead you will need to spend either money or rare in-game currency to have a chance to unlock them. Gacha games have become incredibly popular over the past several years, and I've spent my fair share of money on Hoyoverse titles. Let's just hope that the gacha system will be a bit more forgiving than Genshin Impact. I won't lie to you guys, we have not received any news on the release date of this game. That being said, if Honkai Star Rail follows a similar trajectory to that of previous titles, I suspect that the game will likely have a late 2022 release or an early 2023 release. Genshin Impact had 3 separate betas before officially launching, so I expect Honkai Star Rail to follow suit. If you weren't selected for the second closed beta of Honkai Star Rail, don't fret. A third beta will likely occur before the year ends. To close out this video, I want to ask you guys, which character that we've been introduced to so far are you the most excited for? Leave a comment down below to let me know, and share your thoughts on the new addition to the Honkai series. And that's it from me, guys. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please drop a like and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Peace.